Dear learner, welcome to a session on Introduction to Migration, MA in Migration and Diaspora. This is a very unique program offered by any open and distance education across the globe. It's the first such program offered by any ODL university, and this is a very comprehensive program. And this talk today, I'll be talking about why this program, what are the benefits, and why the need for such program came. In fact, if we see human migration is very natural, and it is linked to every other thing. You talk innovation, entrepreneurship, skills, knowledge, any area you cannot think without migration. And this particular program is designed to help us to understand the various dynamics of migration and why we should study this phenomena and how we can practically help not only the people who are migrating, but the government of the country, the community, the organization to take best out of this migration. And before I start why this program, let me talk about why studying MA in Migration and Diaspora. As I mentioned already, this is a very comprehensive program covering almost all important aspects of migration, both theory and practical aspects, and also various aspects of diaspora, country-specific diaspora, community-specific, and various phases of diaspora formation and linkages between migration and diaspora. All these are covered. Migration is interlinked with all other things, especially in the age of information and knowledge. As I mentioned, innovation, skills, all these are very important. Before I talk about this program in detail, let me give you a big picture why this is very important, contemporary time also and in future also, and especially the country like India, which is already a populous country, and this status will remain for next at least few decades. We need to know better, about migration, because Indians are going to many other countries. This is the largest sending countries in terms of number. And if we manage it, it is a very advantage situation for India to reap the benefit in the age of knowledge. So one thing is important if we see, that is aging. So aging, if we see this particular picture, is a 2015 UN, source is UN, you see the global, the red color, extremely red color, this is the area which is aging. If we see the below, these are area which is youthful population, and below you can say 25 to 30, 25 to 20 to 25 and all. You see the map, you can understand which kind of policy we have to take, because aging population doesn't mean just people are getting older. It also linked to many other aspects. For example, aging people require different kind of needs, care and all this. That also will drive different kind of demand for labor, skills and all this. And those are countries which are highly having aged people, they will have economical disadvantage in terms of they will have a very less youth population to work, especially in any area you take. And that is what happening if we see this map. That is what happening in most of the advanced countries, and some of the countries in Asia like China, Japan and all, most of these countries are aging. And by 2050, you see, this is the scenario, except few countries. Even India will also have aging symptom. Already some states within India you can find more aged people like Kerala and all. So this will have kind of global scenario which actually change the demand and supply of labor and hence the migration. Then the second important area will emerge. As you all know, these days we are discussing about climate, environment, ecology and all. Many countries, because of global warming and so many other factors, environment factor, you find lots of people are, they don't have livelihood support because of change of weather, agriculture is failing, and the kind of weather not supporting for tourism, and employment, is uh, hindered by all these things. So you can see those also creating a push and pull factor for migration. Then, if you combine both, aging population in developed countries, actually global north, especially Europe, America, some of the developed countries, Australia and all, they have huge aging population now. And youth population is other side, global south, which is Africa, some parts of Asia, Latin America and all. And two large countries, especially China, is also aging. India is becoming younger, means it is younger now, which will become aging after maybe 2-3 decades. But over, if you see this kind of scenario, you find lots of challenges are there also, and lots of opportunities are also there, especially countries like India, which has a surplus human resource. That's why India is able to send large number of migrants to many other countries. Second category, which actually also impact the migration, is conflict, crisis, recession, big events and all. You have seen recent time war in Russia, Ukraine war, that is also creating not only kind of crisis in terms of economy, but also a kind of global geopolitics, which creating the migration and other related crises. Then you have seen the conflict in various regions like Syria, Afghanistan and all, that also created unprecedented migration. And also very recently COVID-19, you have seen the kind of challenge, especially the migrant faced, and it also created kind of imbalance and kind of policy change across the globe, which impacted migration. And also you have seen 9/11 kind of event, big event, which actually changed the migration regime, where people who are migrating is not so easy for them because lots of surveillance, lots of visa restriction were there. So all this thing will change the perception of migration, migrant and the policies. Then epidemics I already mentioned, and all this create impact on migration regime, and that is impacting on refugee and many other things, human rights and many other things. That is where this kind of program, MA in Migration and Diaspora, will help you to understand the dynamics and to also create a kind of policy input. And our students mainly come from various sectors, including the policy and NGO, civil service society, UN organization, and this program gives a comprehensive picture. And another area which is also concerned when you talk about migration, we cannot have same skill forever. Skills are also changing. For example, if you go to many countries, the introduction of robotics are coming in almost every industry, transport, hotel industry, and many area. And we all know recently AI also taking lots of job, and this will impact the migration. Not only the migration, the level of skills migrant require, that is also very important to understand, and this will also impact the country of destination and level of skills. So if you see this, particularly this graph, some of the countries they have done massive robotization, South Korea, Japan, Germany, and all these things, all these countries you can see. And robots are rising almost in every country, and they are investing lots of money in automobile sector and other sectors, to make more and more robotics. So this will impact obviously the young people. So what we should do? So we have to think about new skills, new kind of destination country, orientation, and all these are very important. That's why this program we should understand which countries are taking what kind of decision, what kind of skill set they require, and all this we can understand and plan accordingly. So as I mentioned, particular phenomena also impact the kind of skills and the migrant. For example, I gave you aging, especially aging is a kind of every country is facing, but when you see massive scale of aging in Europe and all, they require migrant, especially labor in the area of caregiving, health and hospitality and all. So those kind of sectors you can actually train people and send people to different countries, destination countries. And this also change the duration of migration. Certain skills are required for some time, certain skills are required for longer time. So, and it also impact the language, cultural adaptation, resources of migrants, especially if you see low skilled job. Even poor migrant can migrate to other country, but if you see high skilled job, it requires not only your education, but also your language skill, capital. You need to have lots of money for visa and other things. So those kind of financial, social things also we have to think. Then just if you see this particular picture, global north to south, you see from developing country to developed country, the number of migrants are more, 112 million people going. On the other hand, only 19 million coming from developed country to developing country. Migration is not one way, but it is imbalance. So you can see and within country there are many, within the region, if you see within developing country, 98 million, within you can say Asia, Africa, within countries you can find lots of people are migrating. Similarly, within the European developed country, lots of people are also migrating. So about this program, I talked about MA in Migration and Diaspora. We have actually two components. One is PG diploma, which constitutes the first year. There is entry and exit option, and second year if you complete, you will get master degree. And it covers both theoretical and project work, and it has total 80 credit MA program, but previously it was 32 credit, and it covers a range of topics which are very important, as I mentioned earlier: migration and diaspora theory and methodology, transnationalism, diaspora citizenship, global diaspora, because sometimes we need to understand other diaspora communities, and then there is a focus on Indian diaspora, socio-cultural aspect, political aspect, gender aspect. Then we have a course on diasporas in India, because India also traditionally last several centuries we are housing many other communities, Parsis, Afghans, Tibetans, and very recently you can see Rohingyas and all. So many other communities are also within India, and we should also understand their dynamics, their settlement and policies. Then we have two other courses in the first year, India and the world, because this particularly migration and diaspora also very important to understand the foreign policy aspect, because diaspora also considered as a soft power. If you see Indian community, they are spread across more than 100 countries, and in many countries they are also majority, like you can say Suriname, Guyana and many other countries, and they are also significant minority in many countries like Trinidad, Tobago, and you can say Mauritius, South Africa, Malaysia. They are very significant minority, and also they are very influential in many developed countries are all you know, USA, UK and all. USA you have seen Kamala Harris and all, you know, they are all of Indian origin. Then you have seen Rishi Sunak in UK, they are also, he is also from Indian origin. So people from Indian origin, they are actually creating impact in many fields. If you go to Silicon Valley, to political sphere, they are growing, they are having their, you know, impact on all this aspect, and this is a soft power for India. And this course, particularly India and the world, will help us to understand how India is dealing with the other countries, and how diaspora can be part of those soft power diplomacy. Then another area, state and society in Africa. This is also very important, because Indian diaspora is in Africa is very significant, and to know our foreign policy better, we have to understand them also and see how to use the soft power in a very right direction. We have also research methodology and many other components like Europe, human trafficking, labor policies, and so many, because labor, migration, diaspora, these are all interrelated area. So we have to understand this area. Then second year we have a project work, which is the applied side of this program. Whatever you learn in theory, you need to do some practical. So this particularly project work is very helpful for people, for learner to understand the application side of this, and they are encouraged to do project on any cultural, social aspect, and taking example from India or abroad, online, like there are, you see the social media presence of diaspora, all this they can do. Career, this is a very important thing. I thought I'll give example. This is based on the need assessment. Also, we have assessed the student who are passing out from similar program from other university and our current student. So this, if we see, teaching and research is one of the area. Then also we have find there is an increasing you know, need for these professionals in UN organization, national government, civil society organization, recruitment agency, especially those are recruiting you know, labor abroad, like there are recruitment agency who are from Gulf, from India, who are actually dealing with overseas recruitment. Then there are other career also, opportunity also, like project somebody can do, legal jobs relating to migrant, human rights and all this. Then policy analyst, this is another area which has a big impact, and all this requires specific migration related knowledge. So this program, in that way, it is very helpful, and further to this, we are trying to develop this program in a more, you know, broad way, where we can also learn about the interrelation with not just international relation, but also how industry and migration interface. Like if you see particular industry, how they can treat migrant. More courses will be coming in future on human rights, and many such, like destination country. Some of the destination countries are in like GCC, Gulf countries, is the largest receiving country for Indians. So we are planning to develop program on that. So we are hoping this program will be very useful for stakeholders in many areas, and will be always there to, you know, address any queries if you have. And with this, today I'll stop. Thank you.
Are you a fresh graduate? Do you want to fulfill your educational aspirations?